Good morning. I'm really glad everybody came to the refreshments. And now you have to stay to hear our favorite topic. Our favorite topic. I'm Dr. Renee Horton. I'm currently serving as the president of the National Society of Black Physicists. During my day job, I'm the lead weld and metallics engineer for NASA on our space launch system. Have to give them their plug. It's the biggest rocket we've ever built. We're going the furthest we've ever gone. And it's the most powerful thing we've ever done. 160,000 Corvette engines, or equivalent to what's going to push my rocket. I'm excited about that. It's my passion. I love what I do. But that's not why I'm here today. I'm here today to talk about diversity and inclusion. One should not exist without the other. I had to come up with these fancy titles, right, to get people into the talk. And I gave one before that says diversity and inclusion, how do they intersect with science? The catch is, it's the same thing. You can't have diversity without inclusion. And we just started saying that, actually, just a few years ago, about 5 or 6 years ago, that it really become a thing that diversity and inclusion belong together. See, we got really good at the diversity part, right? I'm in the room and I'm looking, and we're diversified in this room. You got women, you got men, you got blondes, you got black, you got white, you got Americans, you got maybe non-Americans. I'm not really good with nationalities because I'm just not good with it. I flunked history. History's not my thing. So I just look at people and I see people. I would lie if I say I don't see color because that's not true. I do see color. And if they say they don't see color, they're not the ones who need to do your wiring on your rocket because they're colorblind. But the catch is, when I look at this room, you guys have done a great job with diversity. You could take a picture of this smiling room and post it there, and some punk rocker with pink hair would say, oh my God, I can work there. Because I can be me, physically, and work there. That's not the big one. It's the inclusion. So I'm going to do housekeeping because I do work for the federal government, and now with the new president, he may not be so happy about me spouting about inclusion. So therefore, the presentation in this speech was written by me, Dr. Renee Horton. It is solely my opinion. These are not the opinions of NASA, even though they should be, but hey, that's another thing. Or the government. So it's the National Space Administration, National Aeronautical and Space Administration. I'm supposed to have an and there, don't. And referred to as NASA or the government. These are my opinions, and so therefore I'm here on my own personal time. I've done my duty. Diversity definition. So diversity has become really, really important lately in the initiative of STEM. Diversity is said to be acknowledging the understanding that we're different. And those differences can be race, gender, sexual orientation, spiritual orientation, public assistance status, where we are financially. Those are all things that make us different and diverse. So creating a diverse group is about achieving it, we're not talking about the inclusivity then, but just in creating a group that looks visually different. Because see, that's what jobs really go for when they're talking about diversity. They really shoot for that, but they look different. I'm going to maybe take my picture. I know it's in the back of their head. They won't say it out loud. I'm going to take my picture, and we're going to pass that. We're going to maybe check that off. We look like a diverse group. And we're going to put you all in the picture. You're all dressed different. You're all smiling different. Your hair is different. You all look very different. So that group is going to be able to check that off. And, I laugh because when they asked me to go to down where my job is, I was originally in Alabama, they asked me to go to Louisiana. And the guy came to me and he says, I got a big job for you. I was all excited. They're like, a big old technical job. Like, they're going to use my PhD finally. I'm going to get some work done, right? No, it's like, they got this all-white group, and we're wondering if you're up for diversifying. I said, oh yeah, I'm good with that. Like, what's the technical job, though? He was like, no, you qualified for that part. Man, you got a PhD in that area, and I had all the qualifications for the technical part, but they wanted me to truly understand what I was being placed into, the environment I was going to be placed into, the current culture of the place, I was going to be placed into. And they wanted to know if I was okay with that particular job. Like the technical part of it, I had knocked that out the park. Like I was overqualified for the job, right? Everybody else had a BS. I got Power Higher and Deeper, so I was good, right? So they were like, are you really good? You know, we're serious. Are you really good for this? Like, yeah, I'm good. Like, how old are these guys? You know, like, are we talking about old civil rights? You know, and I got to break down some other stereotypes? Or are we just talking about mid-age old? What are we talking about? He was like, you know, average white old guy, like our average. I was like, okay, so like 50? Oh, yeah. He was like, yeah. I was like, okay, we can work with that. You know, one of their daughters might have brought a black man home by now. I would be good, right? We'll break down some of those stereotypes, right? I was like, I'm good, we don't go. But I got there and I loved my team. I loved my team. I got there and their wives had trained them right. The woman does not make the coffee in the office. The woman does not plan the parties in the office unless you just happen to be the secretary, right? Right? And then we got into the meeting one day and they said, well, Renee can take notes. And I said, well, being that I'm deaf, I'm hard of hearing, guys, I'm probably the one not to take notes. And they said, oh, that's right. So Renee can't take notes. So my team lead calls me his pink unicorn. I'm his pink unicorn. I'm a black woman with a PhD. I'm black, I'm a woman with a PhD, and I'm hearing impaired. I was like the trifecta. I was checking off all the diversity boxes in one. Right? That team went there from not diverse to uber diverse, right? With just one placement there. And the catch was there are 20 civil servants at my location in New Orleans. I'm the only black. There are 3 females. I'm the only one in engineering. One is in business and one is in computer science. And then on top of that, I'm the only hearing impaired female on our staff. There's another guy, he's real old, though he can't hear too good now. So there's 2 of us now, so we got 2 of those boxes. So I was excited when we got another one. And then a third one, too. So we good on that one, like all those boxes were checked. So, but when you take our picture, I look like the token. I'm 5'2", everybody else is 5'6". So I always stage them so that we go like this in height, and I'm right in the center like that. And then they're out like this. And I think that picture looks amazing, right? And we're all happy about that picture. And HR is freaked out about the picture, right? They're like, why do you always put her in the middle? They said, no, that's where she wants to be. And she directs us and lines us up. So, you know, they're my guys. It's my team and my guys. I love being where I am because I'm included. I'm valued. So even though I was placed in that team for certain reasons, I'm smart though too, right? I'm truly valued. My input is there. See, that's the thing about inclusion. The inclusion is a state of being valued, respected, and supported. People need to take all of your differences and all of your brain power, right, and want you for that reason. They should want you in the room because you bring a difference of opinion, a different thought, and a different way of being. I love our group because we get on potluck day 3-4 versions of mac and cheese. I was like, I didn't even know you made mac and cheese like this. And I had never had no chili with no white beans and no white gravy and all of that stuff. I'm just a fat girl inside me, always hungry, right? So I love potluck day because when you are truly diverse, you really get a good potluck. So I'm always excited about that. But everybody is included on our team. Our team has the dynamic that each one of us bring a particular skill to the team. And there's another person on the team that's their backup, but that other person's skill level may only be at 50%. So you are the it for that skill. And then your other person is your backup person. And then you serve as backup to someone else based on what your skill is. So therefore, when I state my opinion, it doesn't get questioned because at that moment, I am the subject matter expert. and my opinion has to be valued. Now, we get thrust into bigger groups sometimes, and maybe my opinion doesn't filter out the same way, because right now I'm also low man on the totem pole. I've had the least amount of time. And so my opinion kind of gets thrown out sometimes. And I was like, you're throwing my opinion out because I'm the only girl at the table. And they were like, well, no, not really. We're just not listening to you. Not because you're the girl, just because we're not listening, you're new. And it wasn't until my mentor stood up for me and said, you know, Dr. Renee said, 4 months ago, this was our problem. 4 months ago. I said, I told you. They was like, you should never tell her she's right. I was like, I told you I was right. I knew I was right. And they was like, we told you don't say she's ever right. But they, you know, at that point they started listening. So a lot of times we have our own biases when we're dealing with groups. We're not so sure about the new people sometimes. See, it's a terrible thing when we have that bias because we're not so sure that the person who doesn't look like you can bring something to the table that is as important as what you bring to the table. That's a bias we all have sometimes. And I do. I do not want to work with the new IE that just got here. Don't give me that one. He don't know nothing. I don't care what he look like. He don't know nothing about production. I've been in production 2 years. I don't know nothing about production either. But don't give me the new guy, because I don't want the new guy. So we all have our biases that we come with for whatever reason that they are. It's just that it takes a bigger you to work through those biases, to be able to get there, to be able to truly make diversity and inclusion work. So your boss handles the diversity part, I promise you, on that part. You have to make the inclusion piece work. And the inclusion piece is important because you need to put your groups together. I don't know how you do it here, but we have to choose groups sometimes, or teams. And you have to be able to put those teams together. You won't be as successful as you think you will be if everybody thinks the same. Because the mistake that you're going to make, you're going to miss it. Because everybody thought the same. See, that's actually what that diversity and inclusion piece does for groups. So, we do well the physical, the visual diversity, but the intersection and inclusion is where we fall short. So, diversity is the mix. Inclusion is getting the mix to work well together. So we're going to talk about concrete. Anybody know anything about concrete? Here. Well, I'm gonna look dumb now. Yeah. So I was trying to figure out, like, how do you get people to truly understand diversity and inclusion? Like, what's the deal, right? And I see all you good scientists in here reading those with blur. Y'all study too, like that's a little right, I can read that. The catch is, with concrete, when you do concrete, it is different in different regions. Did I get that right? You use different stuff in different regions. To be able to get the superior properties you want, you have to adjust the mix of concrete. And so concrete, and you'll hear people say cement. Those are synonymous, but they're really cement is the stuff you use in concrete, along with the other stuff. Right? But it's made with sand and gravel and stone. There's a binder in there that brings it all together. There's some chemical adhesives, and there's water. The catch is you use different amounts of those things based on where you are, how fast you need it to set, what you are using it for. Concrete is the foundation of most every single thing that we actually use. Buildings, roadways, things like that. Well, I guess maybe not roadways. The little sidewalks, right? So, but you still use different things based on where you are. Whether the elevation affects it, the humidity affects it, when you lay it affects it, whether you do it in the morning or the evening. All of those things actually affect your concrete. Well, all of those things go into your concrete. Those are your different things that you need, the diversity. To get it to work, and when you do it, and how you do it, And what you include in it is the important part of your concrete or your cement. My stepdad does construction, and I wanted to do construction. I have a PhD too, and I was like, I want to do construction. He said, you'll never last. I said, no, I want to do construction. Like, I want to go. Like, I'm going to take off 2 weeks. I'm going to do construction with you for 2 weeks. And he's like, fine, just come on, go do construction with me for 2 weeks. I lasted 2 days. Because the first day we had to get up and lay concrete. But it was at 4 in the morning. And I said, lost his mind. Who go to work? My job don't normally start till 6:30. Like 4 in the morning, you got to get up at 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. And then you got to make your coffee. And just a lot of stuff had to happen before you go to work. And so I got up and I went out there and I stood around and watched the little thing go round and round. I was like, oh, that's a lot of work at 4 in the morning, just watching the concrete thing. And then he said, your job is, line up these sticks, along the side. You help the guys do that. And I said, okay. So I'm lining up and I was like, that's not straight. I was like, this is going to work. It's like, I said, no, like he said it needs to be straight. Like I'm looking at this and he was like, no, it's straight. Just don't worry about it. Let's just pour the concrete. So we were getting ready to pour the concrete. So we poured the concrete. I was excited. Can I put my initials in it? No, you can't put your initials in other people's concrete. I was like, right on the square. Like this is the first batch of concrete I ever poured. Like I should be able to just put the KRH right in the corner, right? And he was like, no, you can't do that. So God said you should fire her. Like normally it don't take this long to pour concrete. She done remeasured them floors 62 times. I know she did. I was like, it's not 62 times. I only measured it 6 times. That's enough. And he was like real irritated. I was like, look, we check and double check at my job. He said, we put it down and we pour. We don't double check and triple check. That stuff, the people ain't gonna care if that line is straight. I was like, I need it to be perfect. This is my concrete, my batch. And those guys said, if she comes tomorrow, we're not working with her. I went the next day, but I got a new job. It was picking up the nails. So you walk around and you pick up nails, right? And I was excited and happy. And I did that for 8 hours. And I was figuring, like, at the end of that, like, how do I get fired? Like, NASA doesn't look so bad now, right? It was hot. It's like 100 degrees. That's the reason we poured concrete at 4 in the morning. Because it was going to be 100 degrees. So we had to get it out of the way in the morning so it can set. Well, I did not fit well with that team. I was never included in that team. We were a very diverse team, though, right? They were skilled, I was not. So, but I learned that was my deal about the cement, the concrete. And so I wanted to be able to be true to myself when I actually talk of this talk about how to make your teams solid as concrete. So I went out and poured concrete. I'm not going out again. So as concrete dries, it acquires a stone-like consistency. It gets hard, right? So when you put your teams together in the beginning, they're fluid, right? They're moving, they're still moving. You got moving parts in that team in the beginning. But as you guys go along the way, you should be solid. It's concrete when you finish. Because you've worked out those differences. You've accepted people's opinions. You've included them in the project. You've evaluated their skills. You know that he's going to be the guy to crunch the numbers for us because he's real good at that computer stuff. And she's going to be the one to analyze that Excel table for us, line it up and organize it because she's real good at that. So she's going to bring that skill on top of all her other brain power. But those are her skills as well. Right? You're going to take all of those. So in the beginning, all that stuff is kind of loosey-goosey, right? But as time goes on, you're drying that up. It's getting hard. What does concrete have to do with diversity and inclusion, right? What should your scientific team be if you've done it right? If you've concluded all the gravel, all the sand, all the cement, proper chemicals, and the water. If you've diversified your team, you brought in different thoughts, you brought in different opinions, you brought in people who plan differently, you value their input. So if you get that part right, that you're going to value their input, and you truly want them there. You can't have them there because your boss said they have to be there. You have to have them there because you really want what they have to bring to the table. So if you do that part of it right, you get teams that are solid as concrete. Believe it or not, that's it. That's all I want you to think about when you're moving through NRAL or UVA, or wherever you're at. And when you're doing your recruiting, you're looking for a team who's going to be able to add to the strength of your concrete, to the foundation that you are currently standing on. You're looking for those people who are going to bring some type of difference, that are going to knock something out of the park for you. Think about Hidden Figures. How many have seen the movie? I have seen it 8 times. I've spoken at it 6, so I'll say that. But I'm still upset. I still cry at the movie. I'm so upset because first, crazy people are saying, that ain't even true. It's a true story. He really did say, go get the girl. I want her to check the numbers. I don't want to fly without knowing that the smart one did the numbers. That's true. And it really is true that they were segregated and that they really weren't there. And it really is true. She was the only person on that campus that could do that math. Those are true. Some of the other stuff is embellished, but those things are true and hard facts. Now this is the catch. The movie doesn't talk about how they got there. They had gone to war and now they were short, right? And they said, where can we find more computers? Like, these computers aren't moving fast enough and they're not doing enough. Where do we find them? And somebody said, we could go over to the black college. And they said, we never had a black hair.
So they don't know computer is the mind, the person.
So computer, if you did not see the movie, let me apologize. So computer were the women who were crunching the numbers. It was not IBM at that time. So it was the women who were crunching the numbers. They were doing all the math. And at that time, the women did, the guys were the engineers and the women did the math. Thank you for that. And the women did the math. And so they had all of these white women doing the math, and they were running out of brain power in that particular room. It wasn't enough. They needed more and more. They needed more people to do this math. And they had to go out and recruit into the black community at that time, very segregated, right, into the black community. And then they came to work and started doing the math, and it turned out that it was one brilliant scientist, Katherine Johnson, mathematician, brilliant, who turned out to do the one who did the math that got us to the moon, right? And so it was her who did that, and so it was them who did that. But just think if they had never been forward enough to go there. Just think. If there had been somebody in that one guy in the room who said, well, that's where you need to go and look then. He was just like, go and look then and see what we get. But just think if that had never happened. We wouldn't be where we are in space. And now I want you to think about all your past projects where you passed somebody up before because you wasn't sure about what they looked like or who they were. And think about what you could have achieved with your project. You see, I've done it myself, right? The new guy. It's a new guy. And the new guy turned out to be really brilliant. He's really good at what he does. And I was like, oh, my project could have been done. I should have got the new guy. So now I want the new guy, right? I want the next new guy. I'm the next new guy. But just think about where you could be. And think about that the next time you have to choose a team. Think about the possibility of what you are losing out on. You know that really shy guy that sits over in the corner? He could be brilliant at what he does. He just doesn't know how to express it. Maybe that's the guy you want to engage. So you already know what the people you work with are bringing to the table. You may want to find out what the others that you haven't engaged are bringing to the table as well. See, I'm very competitive, right? I just always want to be on top. Like, I want my team to be the team. Like, oh, we was doing the stepping, it was just steps, and I was going over there, and I got all the crane operators, because they have to go up a gazillion steps to get to the crane, right? And I was like, I don't care how many times you have to go up them steps, you run those steps up there, you run back down. Those guys are looking at me like, ain't nobody doing that. You're gonna die. I was like, no, you're not gonna die. And somebody fell out, and they was like, is he on your team? I was like, yeah. Yeah. But just very competitive. And so I'm always looking for that talent pool on where to get them from. And who or where I missed out on something. Because I'm one of those people, I truly believe in diversity and inclusion. This is my Dr. H. I'm cute, I know. And this is my selfie of me and my friends. These are real friends. The lawyer wanted fake friends. These are my real friends. Black, Puerto Rican, Vietnamese. I got a thing for redheads. My girlfriend's a redhead. Got white guys, got all kinds of stuff. And these are the 10, and then the others are fighting to be next, right? To get on there. They could keep fighting them. But this is the project we're putting forth that talks about that diversity. When I show this group of my friends, it makes me very proud. Because every time we've created projects outside of work, we've pulled from a totally different group each time. And things that I thought about doing weren't things that they were thinking about doing, or how do we move this project forward? And then they give me all these other ideas, and it's like, oh my God, I'm so excited about having you on the team. We didn't think about that. And the team of people keeps growing who wants to do this project, and they're all very different, diverse people from all types of backgrounds. And the things that they want and how we're getting them done is so very different. And I have been blown away with just the ideas that we generate like out of this think tank. And our think tank isn't like everybody else's. We show up, somebody makes beer in our group, somebody has honey in our group. We just get together and it's like, bring whatever you have to the hodgepodge, and we're going to think about this on how we want to change the face of STEM. So we're all committed to making that change. You guys have started with the diversity here, but it would be a beautiful thing if I showed up in 5 years and it's truly an eclectic, diverse group. What I do like about being here is that everybody's walking around all happy, which means I don't know too many disgruntled people, do you? Now, if you're disgruntled, you're hiding very well. And I appreciate that, because then I leave with a false sense of happiness over here. But the thing is, the people that I met are happy, genuinely happy here. And that means that you must feel valued. You know the ones that aren't valued, they are grumpy. Like grumpy face, and walking around, grumpy attitude, body language is grumpiness. It's like, oh, dude, we need to go fix him, right? But I haven't really experienced that here, which means that you guys must be doing something good here. Or maybe you're just all happy, oblivious scientists that are doing their science work and are completely oblivious to anything else. And that could be too, but I don't think that's what it is. So this is the end of why diversity and inclusion have to be together. Any questions? And that's my contacts. Thank you.